From JA to UK to LA and everywhere else now, this is a podcast strictly influenced by Jamaican music, brought to you by Eric Kohler and Junor Francis. Well, if you're driving in your car or you're sitting home alone, the Junior entertain you on his microphone with the history of LA Sky. Yeah, hear stories from a guest while we all have a blast. From LA to Jamaica, it's in the podcast. The history of LA Sky. Of LA Sky, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Sky. History of LA Sky, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Sky. Of LA Sky. It's the history of LA Sky. One more time, yeah. It's the history of LA Sky.
Welcome to the History of LA Sky one-on-one sessions. Your host, Junor Francis, alongside our producer and my good friend, Eric Kohler. Now, this series celebrates the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scene in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversation with legends and modern-day talents, including those people working behind the scene. We have lots of people working behind the scene, so we really and truly want to thank them. So whether you listen to this podcast series or watch us on YouTube, thanks for your support. And please remember to subscribe, tell a friend. As a matter of fact, I say, make it plural, tell many friends. Interestingly enough, we're honored to present this Remembering Jimmy Cliff, the great icon, this episode with veteran musicians Jay Bonner and Scott Abels. Jimmy was one of Jamaica's most celebrated icons. I want to say the world celebrated icon, who helped to popularize reggae internationally, including through the Harder They Come film, came out back in 1972, which he also starred in and wrote multiple songs for. This November 24th, sadly and regrettably, he became an ancestor. Nevertheless, he has left an extensive catalog of selections of what I call titanic proportion.
Indeed. Yes.
Mr. Kohler, come in, man.
Yes. And both
cents.
of our esteemed guests and incredible musicians, Jay and Scott, both recorded and performed with Jimmy Cliff as part of Tim Armstrong's Engine Room backing band during the 2011 to 2013 or so period, which we're going to dive into. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
What's up, guys?
Good to see you both.
Yes.
Jay's credits also include JANDISC Records, Studio One, The AGGROLITES, The Vessels, to name just a few. And Scott's credits also include HEPCAT, The AGGROLITES, LARS, FREDERIKSEN, and The Bastards, The Hurricanes. Scott, I know you played on Western Standard Times, ska orchestras, and many others as well. But we really appreciate you guys joining us. And this is our final episode of 2025. Jay, this was your idea to do an episode like this, and we thank you. Many of us were so inspired and respected and loved Jimmy Cliff so much, and the album and the music that you and Scott and Tim and everyone in the Engine Room recorded.
Dan,
Jimmy, man, just was incredible.
Dan, Kevin.
Yeah.
All right. Dan and Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah.
We got a shout.
Thank you.
No, please. And in fact, why don't you touch on so who all was part of that project?
It was Scott on drums.
Yes.
Dan on organ. Kevin Bavona on piano. Didn't you play piano?
And guitar, yeah.
And guitar. He
We
played
track.
guitar.
We
Did Morikawa play?
We tracked piano and organ at the same time, and then Kevin would come in and do some spot leads.
Right.
And Tim played.
And I was on bass. Tim was on guitar. And that was pretty much most of it,
the
right?
core. That was the core. Yeah.
Yes.
That was the core of it. And then we had horn guys come in. But the core of it was what we just
And you played bass on all the tracks.
Yeah, I played bass on all the tracks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. We're going to circle back around to that project, but let's, Junior, why don't we get some background?
Yes, sir. So where are we now in relation? You mean?
Oh, your first question for both of them.
Yes, sir. So your either one can answer first. Your reggae baptism, reggae perhaps ska rocksteady or reggae baptism, where you first got introduced to the music.
Scott?
Interesting enough, my first girlfriend started dating the trombone player from Let's Go Bowling. I'm from Fresno.
Right.
Oh, you're from Fresno.
And Let's Go Bowling came out of Selma, and they actually practiced at a bowling alley. And my first girlfriend, after we broke up, she started dating the trombone player, and her good friend started dating the drummer Jerry Mora, who was the very first drummer Let's Go Bowling. And I bring that up because that's how I got introduced to that music. I didn't I liked Madness and a little two-tone and whatnot, but I started delving deep after that. I actually went to see them play. I didn't have any problems with the fact that he was dating her. But it's just interesting because I had to think about it like that's how. And then the drummer Jason Elam, Let's Go Bowling, is known for music to bowl by. Great drummer. I have a tape. If this is actually interesting, he made it, and it's Simmer Up and live recordings of the specials, and I still have it in my car.
Wow, nice.
Oh.
And so that's like this is probably 1985. I was probably 15, 16 years old.
Wow. All right.
And
That's
so
a great one.
Simmer, like being like two tones one thing, but and I can talk on that, but Simmer, like having that on the same tape and actually working with Roy Ellis and playing with him, recording, amazing guy. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's my.
All right.
Yeah.
And what an addiction.
Yeah.
So that's what it began.
The addiction.
Hasn't ended.
That's right.
Jay.
Mine started with, I was into punk rock. I got into punk when I was like in junior high and started playing little backyard party bands, punk rock bands with Jason Castillo, my good friend. And we had a good handful of punk bands, but the style of punk we gravitated towards was always the UK 77 bands like The Clash, Stiff Little Fingers, those type of bands, right? And so just digging in on those albums, you would see like Police and Thieves and Pressure Drop, or Roots, Radicals, Rockers, Reggae, just a bunch of covers I didn't know were covers at the time. But you would see the names, the writers of the names were not the Clash guys or the Stiff Little Fingers guys. It was like Lee Perry and Jay Mervin. So that would lead me to kind of figure out, okay, so let me figure out what the heck that is all about. So I would find the Junior Mervin record of Police and Thieves, and my mind was blown once I started figuring out, oh, these are Jamaican tunes, man. These guys are into Jamaican music. And that was my backdoor way into the music. Like a lot of people come in the other way through two-tone or whatever. I came into the punk rock side and kind of worked my way backwards.
Right.
So it was like a lot of the 70s stuff, Junior Mervin, Culture, Big Youth. That's kind of where I came in. But then in a weird way too, simultaneously, I had one of my other best friends, Dave Sowers. He was always listening to Yellow Man and Eka Mouse, all this Roots Radic stuff, completely on the side. And they kind of merged together. So that kind of, for the first chunk of my reggae obsession, was late 70s, early 80s, Roots Radics and, rockers. That was
what year would that have been, Jay?
That's like 96, 95, 90, somewhere in high school, throughout high school, maybe even before that too, 94, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Start dabbling with it. But then along the way, I would meet random skinhead dudes that would give me a tape of just nothing but like Ethiopian. That was probably the first skinhead reggae comp I'd ever heard was Monkey Business. Some friend I used to ride dirt bikes, and I used to ride with this kid, and he gave me a Ethiopian or Monkey Business, and it had Ethiopians on there, and I was like,
wow.
what the hell is going on with it? I didn't even know there was a piano in there. Couldn't even tell there was an organ. It just sounded like a monster. And I was like, but I love this monster. How do I want more of that.
Right.
That was it.
Nice.
And then I remember a period where I was a little more feeling guilty that I was listening to more reggae than I was punk.
Mhm.
Then it just took over.
Then you fully embraced it, right?
Yes,
Fully embraced it.
yes, the power and the glory of this music. So, when did you both start playing instrument first? Question for both of you.
Gotti.
I actually came out of musical theater in San Jose, and then my brother and he went the actor realm, and I just started playing the drums. So I think I was probably about 9 or 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
You know,
I believe it.
and not even like, I don't know. I was in band and concert band and marching band and hardcore marching band. But yeah, you know, I always had a drive for this music, but I've also had a drive for something else, which was not playing the drums, which was writing music and recording music, and kind of like
Right.
similar. Like Jay and I probably have that in common. We record and play all the instruments, and
Right.
and so that's
So what other instruments can you play, Scott?
well, what I could play. I have some problems with my hands. But yeah, all like Jay, bass, guitar, keyboards.
Okay.
Like behind
Sing. You could sing too.
and sing. Yeah,
Sing.
yeah. Well, I think the video that I sent you, the AGGROLITES and Milk Bag. Remember that, Jay? Well,
yeah.
I think it was "Ain't Too Proud to Beg," and I was singing on. Jada, that's a funny, but we won't bring that up. But
I almost missed the show because I was in the bathroom. That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
We
were on stage playing. We were actually on stage playing.
And they didn't give you the heads up, Jay, that they were.
No,
I don't know.
I could hear it. I could hear it, dude. I was stressing.
Yeah. Anyway,
Pressure was on,
so that's Jay. You take the.
It's on video somewhere.
Yeah, I think Scott sent me one video earlier. Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
How about you, Jay?
I started playing like guitar when I was like in junior high. You know, Led Zeppelin and David Bowie and classic rock. And then not too long after that, my uncle gave me a mixtape of Stiff Little Fingers, the first Stiff Little Fingers tape, and I was like, "Oh, this blew my mind." And so from that point on, I tried to gather little buddies together to create bands, and couldn't really get one together until I got together with Castillo. Jason Castillo was best friends with my best friend's little brother, and Jason were best buddies. He's like a year younger than me. And so we finally started getting little punk bands together. So it happened right about early high school, freshman year. But we didn't start playing reggae until about, right about the end of high school.
So was that the Vessels?
97. It's pre-Vessels. It was called Dub Street Rock.
Oh yes.
I was just talking about it last night. We used to have these. When our punk band broke up, they kind of left all their equipment at our house, and so at that point we're like, "Hey, let's try and like record some reggae," because I'd gotten a little 8-track, and I was like, "Yeah, let's try and record," And so that's when we really first started dabbling in figuring out what the heck makes up reggae.
Right.
Okay, there's an organ in there, there's a piano in there, there's this got to happen on guitar. And then that became Dub Street Rockers. We make these little tapes.
I have a mixed CD or something, or demo CD that you had given me a long time ago.
I have the same.
Yeah,
one.
that's all it was just recording.
Okay.
And then Scott, that's kind of how we met Scott too. I was just talking to Jason last night about this exact thing, and
didn't we meet at the whiskey? You came up to me at the whiskey.
To you?
Yeah,
possibly. But me and you met. we met at Altonella's show at the Jamaican
No.
Island Patties.
No, I remember that, but I hung out with your mom and the skinheads in the highlight. But no, I met you. You came up to me at the Whiskey.
One of the Steady Beat shows.
Maybe.
Yeah, at the Whiskey when I was in HEPCAT, and you came up to me.
Oh,
and this was before that Altonella's show, and you're like, "Hey,
oh, really?
Yeah, we talked about this.
I think you were hanging with Dave. You and Dave were hanging or something.
Fuentes.
Yeah. I think.
Well, we played, and you came up to me, and you were just all like, you like had moxie, dude, and you're like, "Hey, I'm Jay." No, you did. You can't. This is before that alternate, and you came up to me, man. And he's like, "Hey, man, I got this band. I'm the Vessels," and I'll never forget that. And Jay was playing organ.
Yeah.
I was a fan, dude. Like, I was a Scott Abels fan.
Yeah. No, well, whatever. But
I was.
You're what?
Still am.
Is that past tense?
That expired.
No, but you came up, and we've had this conversation. You came to the Whiskey. That was before the.
That's cool.
Yeah, way before Altonella's. Yeah,
that was way before Altonella's.
Yeah,
but so
you remember that, Junior?
Huh?
Oh yeah,
remember that, Junior, at Island Patties?
What do you mean? If I remember,
yeah, Leo.
Shots were fired and skinheads.
That was crazy, man. Throwing the skinheads were throwing the beer bottles in. And people were shielding their kids, and the cops came, and there was a helicopter.
I remember
That's right.
That was
out and played right through that, dude.
But so Leo had that before the Pat Kelly, Hopeton Lewis Phyllis show, right?
Oh, that's around that time, like that.
Because he had back to back. At same parking lot of Island Patties. He had one. He had a show that had all three. Rocksteady.
Oh yeah, I don't remember if that was.
I don't know what one came first, but yeah. So Jay, that was pretty. And then the Vessels were when. So
I had recorded this punk band called The Deal, and then they were like a skinhead oi band.
Okay.
Christian oi band.
Okay.
And they had given my tape to Rich Carlstead.
Yeah.
Which that guy needs a lot more credit in this whole entire thing. That guy put a lot of bands together, dude. So somehow my tape got to him.
He's not the
Israelites. Israelites.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the guy that recorded HEPCAT.
Whole thing, dude.
My bad. Sorry.
He was in the mix, but so he had called me and said, "Hey, I got this other band I need an organ player for called the Vessels." He put these bands together, dude. He put like the Rhythm Doctors together. He put the Vessels together. He didn't even have any intention on being in the band. He would like like a little lab experiment.
Right.
So I had brought Jason in from our little punk rock reggae, thing we had going, and that's how he became the drummer. And then I brought my cousin Selena in, and then once we kind of got formed, we were working out of Rich Carlstead's garage. And then once we kind of solidified, he like booted us out and like said, "Okay, go your own way."
Wow.
He was cool, but that's what he did. He would like take bands and send them off on their way.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize
that's how the Vessels started.
Jay, did I ever?
Yeah, Rich is pretty integral because.
Did I ever meet him?
Huh?
Did I ever meet him?
Rich?
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but
I would.
You guys know him, right?
Should.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. And we talked to Rich. We did a podcast episode with him and David Hawkins, I think.
Yes, Scott. I think you guys crossed paths because he used to live down here.
Yeah.
He's
like
crucial to the whole LA scene.
I don't remember him, and I should because that sounds.
No, that's all right.
Put it this way, dude. Like he put the Rhythm Doctors together with Paul and Jesse and Brian and all them, and then he put the Vessels together.
Wow.
Yeah, if no Rich, no.
I didn't know that.
No,
I definitely have met him. Then I just don't know.
Yeah, you must have.
Yeah.
Remember.
So Jay, talk about now what led to the formation of the AGGROLITES.
That's interesting because so we had the Vessels going for a little bit, and I was sending out demo tapes or CDs to labels I wanted my favorite labels. I sent one to HEPCAT. I got a rejection letter back saying, "Hey, we're not doing this right now. Sorry, thanks, we love it, but no." And I got one back I sent one to Heartbeat, And Heartbeat sent one back saying, yeah, that's not really what we do. But not long after I sent one to Heartbeat, it's funny because I ended up working up with both of them later. So Chris called me not long after I sent that. He said, hey, this is Chris Wilson from Heartbeat Records. I thought it was one of my buddies playing a joke on me. And he's like, no, really, I listened to the CD and I really dig how you guys are chasing down this old school thing. And I'm going to be out there, because he would do the Grammy committee every year. Him and Chuck Foster and Roger Steffens and maybe Wayne. I don't know. Were you on it? I don't remember. But he'd come out every year and do the Grammy committee. And so he's like, I'm going to be out there soon. I have these tapes I want to finish and get some organ on it. So I was like, oh, can you get me a studio to record it at? And have you guys play on it? Me and Roger. Roger was playing piano at that time. He was playing piano in the Vessels, Roger.
Okay. Right.
And so I'm like, yeah, I could. I know a guy named Brian, and I know he works at the studio. I could try and get some time. And I didn't really know Brian yet, but I approached him at the Whiskey. The Whiskey was the little spot.
Meeting spot there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it was. So I remember hitting Brian up. It might have been a Slacker show or something. And I said, hey, I got this thing, Chris Wilson, Heartbeat. He needs to do some organ overdubs. Can you facilitate that? And he's like, absolutely, come on in. And during that time, kind of on and off, we would cut these overdubs at Signet where Brian worked for free. He'd engineer it. Chris was in there. And then simultaneously, Brian was working on the Rhythm Doctors were getting a little shaky. They're kind of like there's little cracks in the system there. So they started working on a Derek Morgan record.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Tall Paul,
right,
Paul Morton, Brian Dixon, Corey, Zach.
I played on that.
Did you?
Yep.
The Derek Morgan, that's the show.
Nope.
That was the live show.
Nope. 2 days at Signet. I was in there with two different bass players.
Okay. So maybe
I played
my
drums
whole
on
thing's
that.
foggy.
Well, I'm just telling you, I think that's around the time, like, yeah, I was on he brought in a bass player on the second day from Fresno with a 5-string bass. I'll never forget that. But and I think Jubal I think Jubal was on the first day I was there.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and that's right around the
time
you guys were doing the AGGROLITES.
Right. Well, so there's a lot going on at Signet at this time, and Brian was in the middle of it. And I remember the Vessels were kind of on a break, kind of breaking up, and then the Rhythm Doctors were kind of kaput at that point. So Jesse kind of was in there, and then I remember having a break and being like, "Hey, why don't we do this thing without Derek Morgan, without Chris Wilson, and we're all here. Let's just do our own version of this without parents." Right. And then, so we did, Brian got together. He pulled Roger in. They did a live show. It was called the Argonauts.
Oh, right.
It was called the Argonauts. And it was at, like BB King's or something.
This is when he was doing some King Terror stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't King Terror. It was pre-AGGROLITES.
Okay.
And then we did some sessions. It wasn't quite the AGGROLITES. And then those sessions ended up being Dirty Reggae. And once I think Dion and Dave Weens over at Axe, they kind of started showing interest, and we're like, let's make this like a thing. And yeah, then we recorded that entire record in like a couple weekends. We just stayed the night there.
And this was now what? Oh,
this has got to be 02 maybe, or
right,
somewhere in that 02, 03.
Right.
And so it wasn't even a band when we were recording it. We were just jamming. That's why a lot of those songs are just vamping, looping, repetitive jams.
Right.
They didn't really go anywhere, but that's why that record sounds like that.
And what became of the album you guys recorded with Derek Morgan?
I wasn't part of that, but I would sit in and go and hang out while they were doing it.
Mm-hmm. I think I know which one.
I don't think it came out.
No, it never did.
It never came out.
Yeah.
We did two separate sessions. One was Scott. There was a reason for the two different bass players. I guess. One was reggae one day, and the other was ska.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. There was so much going on at that time that it's very hard to even organize.
Who knows?
Sure. Yeah. And so Jay, your time and we met when you were with the Vessels, and obviously Sean and I had the pleasure and honor of working and managing
The
AGGROLITES for a few years, and just had such an incredible time. But your time with the AGGROLITES, what years now?
It was from that time, the very beginning, up until I quit in 07.
Okay, got it. And
2007. That's when I left.
And everybody wants to know why you left, because the band was really getting ready to take off.
Well, to be looking back now, my reason for leaving was it was on good terms. It was just that they wanted to keep. Man, it was just really tour.
A grind.
And I remember just kind of sitting down, and it was not just me. It was a couple members where we're like, "Hey, we need some balance here. We need to kind of like, for every month on, we got to have a month off." And then it kind of get booked in, and it was like, "Wow, this is too much touring." So I remember telling the band, "Hey, I'm gonna split, but I'll still, if you guys still want me to record, I'll still record on the records. I'll still do the artwork. I'll still design merch.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to do the whole tour thing no more." So that was basically why I split.
Yeah.
I just needed to slow it down.
Right. Which is understood. And I know it's probably tough for you to just name a few, but if you had to talk through a few highlights of your time with the AGGROLITES, what would some of those highlights be?
Well, I love the early days when it was just those campouts we would have at Signet, just recording. It's an awesome studio. It was Motown. It was Mo West.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, when Motown came west, that's what that was. It was that studio. So all the mics we used were Motown mics. The Leslie had Motown stenciled on it. All the mics you could see. We used a Jackson 5 mics. You could see pictures. We used all that. And so that was like a magical time when it was just like, when there was no competition yet. There was no other bands kind of doing that pocket of reggae. We got booked everywhere quick, and it was a big buzz that you were there. There was a buzz that happened. That was a great moment. And then maybe another one I'll throw in there was maybe the first Europe tour. Landing in Europe and getting off at the first festival and just walking in there and having a whole group of fans cruise up and know all of our names. We're like, "Oh, you're Corey, you're Jake, you're Brenda." And we're like, "Whoa!" Like, we don't get this back home.
And those European festivals too.
Yeah, and then linking up with Tim was a huge experience.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Prince Buster, Sierra Nevada World Music Festival.
Oh, that too, dude. There's too many.
I know.
Backing Prince Buster and Horsemouth and Johnny Clark are off to the side watching your set. It was insane.
Yeah, what an incredible time. I to this day I'll never forget. And it was actually I have a poster up there, but when you guys played the El Rey, one of those shows, Jay, I think it was maybe with the Scatolites. Seeing you guys and showing Sean Heitkamper for the first time and just the spectacle that you guys were, and never forget that. But,
what's funny, if you pause real quick, the reason why that band, I mean, I don't want to say the reason why, but one of the main outspoken reasons why we started getting wild on stage was we did this right when we were in that dirty reggae era recording that record.
Yeah.
We all went to this, I think it was Go Jimmy Go. It was at BB King's in Universal City.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Go Jimmy Go, one of those Hawaiian bands. And we were all there because we had just done recording and whatever. Corey was there. Brian was there. I don't know if you were there, Scott, but it was right in that little moment. And Lewis over at Steady Beat was like, "Hey, everyone's here." It was a packed show. And we were backstage and Lewis was like, "Hey, everyone's here. Why don't you guys jump up on stage after Go Jimmy Go's done, they'll let you use their equipment and do like 2 songs. We're like, all right, can we do it? We huddled together. Can we do this? All right, we'll do it.
That's cool.
We went up on stage. Yeah, after the headliner, and it was like there was a packed crowd. And this dude we were playing an instrumental, and this drunk guy jumped up on stage and started rapping. Were you guys at this show?
No.
It was
but I've heard this story. Please. Yeah.
Okay. This dude starts rapping uninvited, and Brian Dixon kind of hip checks him, and this dude face plants on stage. I mean, face on the wood. Boom, goes down. The whole crowd was just like, whoa. Wow, this guy ate crap, and he got up and started trying to strangle Brian.
Oh.
And so many people jumped up on stage.
Right,
it was mayhem.
Right.
And I see a guitar come up and come down. It was nuts. We got banned. I remember Lewis was like, "You guys are not allowed at BB King's." And that's kind of what kicked off the aggro. We had to keep up that level now.
Yeah.
I think that's before we ever did an official AGGROLITES show.
That's wild.
So everything that came after that was got to keep up that level of excitement.
Yeah.
For the benefit of me and other people who don't know what dirty reggae is, for instance, when you hear the word dirty reggae, you would think of Rekka Pum Pum, Rekka Body, but there's actually no connection, right? Dirty reggae.
No.
As a matter of fact, the AGGROLITES have been credited for starting that trend, right?
They have. I mean, the first time I ever remember saying the word was me and Brian were talking at the Whiskey again, talking about making the recording that we were doing sound crusty and not pristine, and it was about the recording process. Like, we need to make that like dirty reggae, not this clean, polished, sparkly stuff. It's got
has nothing to do with the lyrics.
No
relationship.
That's the first time I
Just
ever remember it. Yeah, but there might be other stories that come up and all that. I don't know, but that's my memory.
I have a story.
What about you, Scott? Go, Scott.
Well, Alex stays there from HEPCAT. He was part owner in a bar on, I think it was
Yes.
Vine Fondue Bar.
Yeah. And this is what I remember. This is just what I remember. And we played there. This was in the exact era of what Jay's talking about. But I don't think it was the Aggro. It was Brian Dixon. It was me. I think it was Matt Parker.
Yep.
And they wanted to say, "Hey, skinhead reggae." And I said, and I was kind of like not cool with that. I was like, let's call it dirty. Let's call it something else. Let's call it gritty reggae or dirty reggae. I'm not claiming, but I remember that conversation. I was like, let's not put skinhead reggae out there. It's like you'd have this connotation. And so let's come up with something. So I don't know. That's what I remember, that conversation. I'm not trying to say I came up with it.
That's great.
No, but you know what?
But I remember
Scott, you know
that.
There's a through line there.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of stuff. There's stories about it, everything. Everyone has their different
And so what is it?
It's more so describing
it's basically what he just
Can you
just
the
said,
definition?
At the beginning, it was describing the way we would approach recording it. So like everything was slammed, like all the meters were slammed and everything was kind of crunching, and nothing was like the snare drum was just real hairy and blown out. And that was kind of what in our mindset was, it's got to be dirty. The sound of it has to be gritty.
I took it as that, but I also took it musically as it being funky. The AGGROLITES
too.
The AGGROLITES were funky. Yeah. Well, I don't want to be
high energy.
When Jay was in the band, but the AGGROLITES were about being gritty and funky and everything. Like I didn't know that story about Brian checking somebody, but it was all encompassing. It was an attitude, and it was but it prevailed on stage and musically. It was like, it was just a whole thing that I think that we all, especially Jay and Roger and Brian and Jesse, came up with. But that's my take on it.
Yes.
Whether
I always look at Scott as Scott's definitely equal to me in my book. Scott and Corey were both equal original members.
You and Corey slayed. Let me tell you, Scott.
Yeah,
you did.
Well, we traded places because what I remember is that you guys played a show and then Corey
broke his foot,
and then we played the whiskey. And Dan and Roger on a little Wurlitzer, Jesse, you.
Yeah.
And then I think I played another show, and then Corey
we did San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, man. The sushi restaurant, King Terror, and the Skinhead broke the toilet, and then we didn't get paid. Oh, no. Remember that? That was we drove home defeated. We drove home about 7 hours defeated with that, but we had a good time. That's when Sean Maines came in to play. Remember
Sean Maines was the key. He was key. Oh yeah, mm-hmm. He was great. He was awesome.
That was some.
He's the real founder of the whole thing.
So, Jay,
really?
What's that?
So Jay, my next question is, how long have you been a graphic artist, and when did you start working with Studio One? And in what capacity do you work with Studio One? I didn't know you had those kind of skills.
I started doing graphics kind of with my punk bands. I was the guy that would design all of our
way back.
Yeah, I was the guy who drew the cassette covers and spent hours at Kinko's doing photocopies or our flyers, and then when I started recording reggae stuff and actually getting it put out there, I would Roger actually taught me Photoshop early on. He taught me, okay, here, this button does that, this button does this. I was like, all right, got it, get out of here. And then I took over. And that's way back in like the Dub Street Rockers Vessels days.
Okay, you have a couple of years under your sleeve. And what's the Studio One? You're talking about the original Cox and Dot Studio One or the LA Studio One? There's no LA Studio One.
Oh, no. No. So back then I was doing all my own bands. And then it wasn't.
No, but I'm saying now you're presently with Studio One, the real original Brentford Road Studio.
Brentford Road, yes.
Wow.
With Coxon's daughter, Carol.
Yes.
And Chris Wilson. Yeah. Chris Wilson from Heartbeat is now with Studio One. And Carol, Coxon's daughter. So it's Coxon's daughter, Carol, Chris Wilson from Studio One, and Jay Bonner.
Wow.
We kind of work as and I work with other people too, but that's kind of our team for Studio One. Carol's son, Ian, runs Music City over in New York, and he helps out a lot. But as far as getting, these releases together, Chris will get the tapes from Brentford Road, bake them, get them mastered, transferred, send me all the info, and then we start working on artwork. Do a lot of reissues, but there have been some originals where it's like, okay, here's a collection of tunes from 72. Let's make it look like it belongs in 72 Studio One catalog, and that's what I do. Or if it's a ska record, I try and make it look like it fit in 64.
So you've been doing this for a while with Studio One. You've been doing it and Heartbeat.
Yeah, but I've been working with Chris on and off on things over the years, but not graphically. Graphically, I started in about 5-6 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
So now I'm steadily doing their stuff.
So you have anything you can show us from Studio One that anything nearby you can grab and show?
I'm not at my house right now. I'm at my brother's house in LA. All my stuff's at home. But let's see, Pirate's Choice Volume 2.
Yeah.
I had to make that kind of feel like Volume 1, so I watercolored a cover for that. You can look up Pirate's Choice Volume 2. A lot of these reissues that you're seeing, like Lone Ranger Batted and Dem, Alton Ellis, Horace Andy Skylarking. I'll have to take the original scans of the artwork, and sometimes they're not very great quality, so I'll have to stitch together multiple different versions of it, and then recreate the back because it's got new info, might have new tunes on it. So,
That's
but I have to make it
amazing.
look like those originals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You must be having fun doing that, Jay.
Oh, it's just a trip when you turn over like a Alton Ellis record and then your name's on the back. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But it's been amazing because sometimes they'll send over pictures from, well, let's just take Wailing Souls for example. They'll send over original photos that are from the same shoot from that cover that you've seen a million times, but it's not the same photo.
Wow.
Like they're in different places.
Yeah.
You're like, I know this. This is crazy, man. So you get to see some really cool stuff. I'll hear the music before.
Yeah.
They'll send me the music so I can put vibes on it.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Yes. Well, congrats on that.
Yeah.
Scott, we're going to transition over to you here in a second.
Yes, sir.
But will you both talk about when and how you met Tim Armstrong?
Scott?
I met Tim I did a tour, HEPCAT opened. We did a 5-week tour of the United States. I think it was in 97, 98, and we opened up for Rancid.
Mm-hmm.
And you were?
I went to it as a fan. Heck yeah.
Oh, okay. And so, yeah, I that's when I first met Tim, and I remember I didn't really have a lot of contact with him, but I remember one of the last shows I played on that tour, he was like, hey, I want to use you on this or that or something. And that kind of just led to me, the Bastards, and then working with him over the years, playing with him.
Right.
You know, I don't know. He's a really, you know, in the, I have to say, at least as far as the music industry and the way people are treated and fair and everything, he has been one of the outliers of being really genuine and fair and throughout as long as I've known him. Obviously, I've known him for almost 30 years.
Yeah. Right.
And I've done different things with him. I drum tech for Rancid. He put together he was the sixth member of the Bastards. I've done multiple recordings with him, including the Jimmy Cliff and all this stuff. And just I can't say enough about him. I mean, he's a good guy, really talented, and I love the fact that he just keeps making music.
Right.
Like a music man, he just keeps on creating.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have nothing but nice words.
Wonderful.
Jay?
So, Scott.
Hold on, Junior, 1 second, if you don't mind. Jay, when and how did you first meet Tim?
Chris LaSalle used to run. Chris LaSalle was running Hellcat. Like he was like the day-to-day guy at Hellcat.
Yes.
Tim owns it and are picking up he's the brains. Chris was like the day-to-day doing all the business stuff. So Tim had us put us on the AGGROLITES on, give them the boot.
Yeah.
I forget what volume it was, but they put us on there just to kind of try us out, and they gave us primo spot. It was like Rancid #1, AGGROLITES #2. We were right there, boom. And then so right after that thing came out, they were like, "Hey, let's sign these. You guys." They hit us with the contract, and so we were like, "Absolutely, that's what we wanted to be on was Hellcat, over everything." So that got facilitated through Chris, but Tim had come to a couple shows, but I haven't really properly met him. I'd met him as a fan, but then one day I was working. We had got signed and everything, and I was working. I got fired. Me and my boss got in a big fight, and I lived close to Tim, but I didn't really know, So I got fired, quit, got in a big old fight driving home, and I see Tim at the pizza place on the corner right by my house. I'm like, oh, I'm pulling in. I got to meet him personally. Pulled in, started talking to him. He's like, oh, hey, yeah. So we hit it off real quick because we had already been signed for like a month or so. And immediately he's like, hey, I got some stuff at my house. Can you give me a ride to my house? I got some music I want to show you. I'm like, heck, let's go. He jumps in my truck. We go up to his house. We go into his house where he had his blood clot studio, and not anymore. But
that's where we recorded. That's where we recorded the first.
Back at the time that was a studio. There's not anymore. And so he was showing me all these tunes that he had been writing, like a ton of them. He was singing the verses and walking me through it, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." All right, cool, well, awesome. And then I went home, and then about a week later, not even a week, Chris LaSalle calls me and says, hey, Tim says that he showed you all these tunes at his house. And we were about to go in and do the first HEPCAT AGGROLITE record.
Right.
And then Chris LaSalle, self-titled, the red one. And he's like, Tim's going to do a solo record. He said he showed you some songs the other day. Do you want to have the AGGROLITES be the backing band for it? And I was like, I don't even have to ask the band. The answer is yes.
Right.
So that's how that kicked off, man.
Yeah.
And then Tim,
another career highlight there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Tim, can I say something? Tim showed
course,
up.
yeah.
We played the House of Blues. Remember that? It was right before we went in the studio.
Yeah.
And he came to backstage. I don't remember. We opened up for somebody, AGGROLITES. It was days before we went in to do his first record. That record, which we literally were in Signet for what, 1 day for Tim's record?
We did all his tunes, I think, in 1 day.
Incredible.
1 day, and then the very next day we were doing the red record, right?
Incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly how. So
we knocked out his record in a day.
So when I think of the red record and I think of A Poet's Life, those are virtually
it's one record.
It's like a double album.
Musically,
like
right?
The drum sounds, everything. Like it's just we left everything, and then the next day we shut up and we started recording that record. Right, Jay?
Yeah, nothing moved. Mics didn't move. Nothing. It was actually the same session that Tim's record and the first AGGROLITE record.
We did do that whole thing in a day. Huh? That's crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So the AGGROLITES keep popping up. So Scott, how did playing with the AGGROLITES come about, and what were some personal highlights? I know we kind of touched, but briefly and generally, but now something more specifically.
I knew I knew all these guys, and I got, like I alluded to earlier, Corey. My knowledge was they did one show and then Corey broke his foot, and then we played, and then they said, hey, we got this show at the Whiskey, and I remember that show, and I don't remember maybe playing another show, and then Corey was better or whatever, and then he was in the band, and then Corey, and Jay, you can correct me, and then Corey, because of the red record, doing the same thing that he was doing, I think it was a motorbike, he broke his arm, right, Jay?
He was getting married.
I don't know when he broke his arm, but I wound up playing in the AGGROLITES again, and and we're in Jay's garage doing demos for the record, which were dope.
Those demos are great.
Oh my God, they were so cool. We had Mike hanging from the rafters and stuff, and it was a good vibe. And then shortly after that, we played that show at the House of Blues, and next thing you know, we're recording with Tim Armstrong into that red record. And then I wound up touring with you guys for about 6 months on that record. Different tours.
US and Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was in there solidly for about 8 or 9 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Those were.
And And then I have to say this, you know, the AGGROLITES play in Fresno, and I always wind up getting called up, and I go up there and I play Mr. Misery or something.
Right. Yeah.
So,
So how did you segue into a HEPCAT?
well, HEPCAT was much before that.
Yeah. How did you meet HEPCAT, guys?
Wow, that's interesting. That's kind of long-winded a bit. I'm going to be. I was in the Let's Go Bowling camp in Fresno. I was actually playing in a reggae band with Darren, the keyboard player, and Dave Weens, who was actually playing bass at the time. And the drummer was off and on, and there was this funk band, and we kind of, I got kicked out of that band, and the next thing you know, anyway, I wound up in Let's Go Bowling. But right before I wound up in Let's Go Bowling, they were playing at this club, and I'll never forget this. I was hanging out, and they were like, I was like, who's this? Who's opening up for you guys? And they're like, oh, it's this band from HEPCAT. They're this band from LA. They're called HEPCAT. They're cool. Like, they were like so nonchalant about it. Like, right? No, and I was like, and they didn't care. Like, oh, we've seen them before. That's the attitude, and no disrespect. And so I'm thinking, like, well, I got to go see this. So I walk into the club, and it was epic. It was like walking into a different times dimension.
Yeah. Right.
They had Dennis playing guitar, and he was wearing this wife beater with these suspenders, and Greg and Alex and Narvis was playing on Let's Go Bowling. I mean, they basically blew Let's Go, in my opinion, out of the water. Like, it was like, what is this? Like, I was just so like, it was crazy to me. And then fast forward, so I became an instant fan, and then I played with Let's Go Bowling, and then I moved to Santa Cruz, and I wound up seeing HEPCAT open up for the Scotalites, the Catalyst, and then I moved to LA in '97, and this is where the story gets really interesting, because my friend who was playing in the Insiders, which was a soul band in Santa Cruz, he goes, hey, we're playing at the Whiskey, and it was the Insiders, Ocean 11, HEPCAT. I met Jay. I met Jubal, and I met Zach that night. I think Dynamic Pressure might have played that night.
Wow!
And it was just one of those shows, and then there was an after party at Awesome Audio in North Hollywood when I lived down the street. And my buddy called me the next day. He's all, hey, HEPCAT needs a drummer. The drummer for this ska band in San Jose just found out he didn't get the gig. So what
and Narvis was taking time off.
Right. And so I've never done this. I borrowed a mixer, and I mic'd up my drums with a couple of vocal mics, and I made a tape with a tape deck where I was playing on top of HEPCAT. You could hear the HEPCAT underneath, and I was playing all the different off of probably a lot of Scientific and and to show them that, hey, I got I know this thing, right? And the story goes, they were listening to it in Hawaii, and they had the drummer in the car, and they put it in. And I mean, I don't want to talk to that, but I wound up going into an open audition, and I wound up, they just started calling out songs. I knew all of them at Awesome Audio. And then they invited me to see the Scotalites with them opening up at the House of Blues, and I went. And I'm not going to speak on that, but I walked out. It wasn't whatever. So
go ahead.
No. I mean, and I was like, I walked out. I didn't really care, and then I get a call from the guys in HEPCAT, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to audition again." So I went to did the exact same thing at Awesome Audio, and we played through everything, and then I got pulled out, and they said, you want to play with us? And we're going on tour of the Warped Tour in '97. It was like a month later.
Yeah.
And then my whole trajectory of my career changed. I mean, from that, I met, I wound up playing on Out of Nowhere. I met a runner who wound up playing on Cypress Hill, my buddy Roy, and I wound up playing on Cypress Hill Records. And like everything just kind of like
opened up. It
was interesting. But yeah, I'm sorry, that was very long.
No.
We want to hear all the details. Yeah, at least
that's how it happened.
I saw you perform with HEPCAT numerous times. So what years were you with HEPCAT?
97 to about 2000. I did Right on Time and Push and Shove.
Right.
And then the band kind of, I mean, I don't know if it is what it is, but my house in Burbank was known as the HEPCAT house. At one point, 4 different people from HEPCAT lived there. Greg lived there, Destin lived there, Raul lived there. And the band actually broke up in my living room.
Wow.
Yeah, like
not because they were in your living room, but just
maybe.
Well, yeah.
No, it was really strange. I mean, I don't know. We met to we Push and Shove had just been recorded, and we met to see who wanted the tour and who didn't. The manager came, and half the people didn't. It kind of goes back to what Jay was saying. Half the people were like, yeah, and half the people were like, well. And then the one person that was absent was Destin, the keyboard player, and he showed up right in the middle of this meeting at my house, and he basically said, I don't want to play in this band anymore. And the band imploded right there. That was it. That's the skinny, man. That's really what happened.
And then Greg moved down to Costa Rica.
Right. And then it came back into line, and then I wasn't a part of it.
Right.
That's really what happened. I mean, it's not really, I don't think that's just the real.
No, for sure.
That's the realness of what happened. I'm not throwing Destin under the bus at all. I mean, he was, it bummed me out. It bummed everybody out, but he was being real, man. I mean, it was just not, it was too much for him. And it's kind of like what Jay did. You know what I mean? It's real. I mean, people think that this is all glamorous to go on tour. It's not. No. It's work, and it is. It's hard work, especially at the level that these bands tour at, that we toured at, because we don't have any techs. I'm moving my drums in by myself. I'm setting them up. I'm doing it every night. And Jay's doing the same thing. When Jay wanted the 810, remember, in Europe, and then we had to go up the stairs the first time.
Well, we made it the thing that we brought organ with us everywhere. And then when we went to Europe,
HEPCAT did, but
we were like, we're not using the AGGROLITES. It was a thing. Like, we don't use digital keyboards that sit up on a little stand like this. Yeah. We use real organs. So we had 2 organs at all times. We toured with 2 organs. One was a backup that we left in the trailer. So every night we loaded an organ in and out, in and out, in and out.
I remember that.
No disrespect to them not using organs anymore, but back in those days it was strict. We use real organs.
One of the pictures that I think I sent you, maybe I deleted because I was trying to, but it was a picture of. I told Jay about this. It was us unloading the Lowry out of Jay's truck. It was me, Dan, and Jay into the Jimmy Cliff session.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to show that, because my joke was, well, the drummer never helps, but it really wasn't that. It was really to get Dan in there, but it was to show that it was always a group effort. Yes. We all helped move those organs. It wasn't just. It's tough. It was always. It's
a hard game. Like, Eric, remember Sean wanted to road manage early on.
Yes.
Remember this?
And he
He went on
realized
like
he
one
realized
little,
how
he
tough
went
it
on
was
like
in the
one little
he did
Southwest tour or
Southwest.
something.
Yes,
He was
yes.
done. He was like, "This, I'm over this."
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard, man.
It is tough. Perfect segue though into Jimmy Cliff Jr.
Yes, sir. The recording opportunity, how it came about with Jimmy Cliff. And the engine room was the backing band. And I think that incorporate most of you guys, right?
Yeah, you want to kind of know how that came about?
How it all came about.
Jay's the one. Yep.
So this dude I was working with Tim a lot at his. Me and Tim, after I quit the AGGROLITES, me and Tim started working a lot together on random stuff like graphic stuff, music stuff, animation. So I was with him. We lived in the same neighborhood, so I worked with him every day. I worked with him every day for right after the AGGROLITES. And so this guy Grover, the Warner Brothers dude, I don't know if you know Grover Beery, Tom Beery.
I don't think so.
Cool dude. He was like a Warner Brothers promo guy.
Okay.
A lot of energy, come from that world. But he had started this other thing called Collective Sound. It was like a label management, kind of a 360 thing. And they had just gotten Jimmy Cliff on board. And so he came to Tim. I think between him and Matt Pinfield, they were like, "Hey, Tim Armstrong's got to produce this Jimmy record." And so Grover came to where me and Tim were at. Tim had this office in Silver Lake where we would, get together every day and pitch the whole thing. "Hey, Jimmy, we got him. We want him to do like 2 tunes, maybe like 2 covers, Guns of Brixton, Ruby Soho, just to see how it works out. Can you put together a thing?"
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Can I interject something from what? Because Jay's the one who brought me into this, by the way, and I have to emphatically state that they could have used any drummer, and this guy right here, it was Jay that brought me into it, and I forever.
Well, dude.
But what I want to say is that what I understood was Jimmy was making this. This is from maybe you don't remember, but Jimmy was making a record with a bunch of different producers, and he was in Atlanta working with the Outcast. Right? This is what I remember. You told me. And then, do you remember that?
No, but I remember hearing some of it.
This is what you told me. He's like, "Okay, Jimmy wants to do 2 songs with us." And so Jay contacted me on a Wednesday and the session was on a Friday. That's how that's literally what I remember. And we went and we did 6 to 8 songs. And then I went back to Fresno thinking okay, that was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, they're putting this out as an EP. And then, about 2 weeks after I found out that Jimmy wants to scrap doing this multiple producer thing, and he wants to do a whole record.
Wow, what's that?
That's what I remember.
That's what led to Rebirth.
Yeah, and that's what.
No, that's true. That is true because it moved.
That's
quick.
What I remember.
It moved quick.
Right. So we're talking 2011.
2011. Yeah.
So obviously he was really impressed with you guys, right?
Yes.
Musicianship.
Well, I think when he first came into the studio, we had all our stuff set up, and I have the same organ the same model organ that was at Dynamic, where like all the Harder They Come stuff was done. It's the exact same organ, not the very one, but it's the same exact model.
Wow.
And we were super duper. We wanted to make that record again and try and convince him like this is what we want. This is what I think the world wants out of you is more of that. Let's celebrate that.
Yes.
And so he came in and we were going to do 2 songs, Guns of Brixton and Ruby Soho. But the first time he came into the studio, we had showed him the organ. We showed him all our old equipment. And then we just said, at that point, I think he let his guard down and was like, all right, I trust you guys. I trust you guys.
Because it was a departure. I mean, he always put on an incredible show with his live band, and obviously his recordings speak for themselves. But this was a departure and was very
bringing them back.
Yes,
and so Tim did like an amazing job at like just really delicately guiding him back to that and being like, look, this is, we had no part in that in convincing him. It was Tim's job as a producer to just kind of walk him through the vision.
Right.
This is what we're gonna do. Trust me,
Right.
this is what everyone wants.
And then he was,
And we
and then
did.
he was sold.
He was sold, yeah.
And did
Guns N'
Tim-
Brixton was kind of the first tune we did, which wasn't full blown 1972 Harder They Come. It's kind of a hybrid. It was almost
Sure.
like training him to go back there.
right,
That's what
right.
I
And did Tim choose all the other songs, or did Jimmy? Do you have any idea?
It was between them two.
Yeah.
They would always go off in their own little realm, and we'd leave them
Yeah.
alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And they would sit there with notepads, and they'd be in their own little world, just writing songs, deciding things. And then they'd come out of there and say, "All right, we're going to do this song." And they'd show us a song, we'd learn it real quick, and then we'd jump in the studio and track it, figure it out, track it. But do you remember that, Scott? They'd kind of go off into the control room and just
and then
huddle
when we
up for about
tracked
an
that,
hour or two.
when we tracked that stuff, man, it was literally like one take. Like working with Tim is so
Yeah.
quick. Jay can attest to this. Like you think you're working something
Yeah.
out, it's like we got it, and you're like,
No, that's the take.
no, that's real. And so when you, especially on something that's on such a high caliber,
Yes.
if I hadn't worked with Tim before that, knowing that, I went in knowing that I have to know what I'm doing almost immediately. There ain't going to
Yeah.
be any second take and then to really put it in perspective, like we were tracking probably half that record with Jimmy in the vocal booth live, which is absolutely like it gives me goosebumps to even talk about.
Yeah.
For me as a drummer to be playing one thing with a rhythm section, but I had eye
Jimmy in the
contact
glass.
to Jimmy, and I'm feeding off of this
Yeah.
guy. It was like I've never in my whole life had a situation like
Oh,
that.
it's unbelievable doing
It was
Jimmy's
on
in the window
another level.
singing.
Yeah.
And those
It's
were
crazy,
the
dude.
takes. Those
How
were the
long?
takes.
How long was the recording session?
It was
It's a couple of weeks.
It was 2 weeks, but am I allowed to say that it was really only 1 week? You know what
It's probably
I think you just did.
What happened was, can I just spell? We were
Go
in
ahead.
there for 2 weeks, but Jimmy had eye surgery
Oh.
and he couldn't fly, and so we spent a week. That record was really only made in 7 days.
Wow.
We tracked
Yeah.
rhythms that
Yeah, we
very,
did.
very few of those were used though. Maybe that record really happened in 7 days.
Right.
And
So,
but you know what's cool about that, Eric, is during, and Tim was very cool about, hey, I know all of us have questions. We want to freaking just bombard Jimmy with all of our questions and whatnot, but let's just save that for lunchtime. So at lunchtime, we're outside at the picnic table, hit him with everything. But
All right. So let's pretend. Let's pretend we're at the lunch table. All right.
Oh,
Let's pretend.
yes.
Let's pretend Junior's Jimmy Cliff. So what would you ask him?
I said, okay, Jimmy, there was certain things that if Jimmy could unlock it for me, it would unlock a whole nother bunch of info reggae wise.
Sure.
Like who played drums on Hard Road to Travel? Because if I could figure out who played drums on Hard Road to Travel, I know this is the same cat that played on like Toots' blah blah blah. It's the same drummer. But we don't know who.
It
No,
was Winston Crennan. It wasn't?
Nope.
Well,
He was on a lot of other stuff, but there's this one little pocket in '68, the end of '68, where it's not Grennan, it's not any of these
It
guys.
might have been Carl
And
LeBarrett, man. Because he
No,
was playing.
he knew he figured it out.
Who?
So
who
we
was
hit
it?
him with that, and he couldn't answer it for like 2 days, and then maybe 3 days later he comes back. And he's like, I know who the drummer is. It was Tin Legs, Lloyd Adams. There's this guy named Tin Legs.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. And then when I went down to Jamaica and met with Toots later, I asked him the same question, like, who's playing drums on blah, blah, blah. And it took him about an hour to come do it. And then he's like, this guy named Tin Legs. And so I'm like, there's little
Wow, I've
things,
never
there's little
even
things
heard
that
Tin
aren't
Legs.
written.
Right, so the dots were connected. But that's wild that Jimmy went away,
Yeah.
right? He clearly was thinking about it. You stumbled him, right? And it was important for him to come back
Yeah.
and answer you. So, wow. Well, it's
Right, because
Scott,
like that kind of stuff's not in the books.
right.
All right. And it's
Scott, what did you ask Jimmy?
Oh, I was too intimidated, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. It's funny you asked me that because I had to. I think Jay, I think it was the very last night we recorded, and his driver wasn't there, and I had to drive him to his hotel. And that was it was the weirdest. It was like I'm sitting there and I'm like, what do I ask him? So I asked him, I remember asking him about, it was so uncomfortable, man, because I'm not like Jay. I was like freaked out. And I remember asking him like, hey, what is it like you're here in LA playing with us? And it wasn't really a white black thing. And it was more like I can't remember how I worded it, but it was like what are you doing here with us kind of vibe. and he said, I remember him saying, I played with musicians from London, I played from musicians from Jamaica, I've played from musicians from Europe. Like, he just made it, and when you listen to his music, more so than most reggae artists, Jimmy comes across as international to me. And
yeah, he does.
His lyrics and his vibe, they're very, you can get it if you really want, they're so positive. It just seems so different to me. And so I guess that all of that, asking him that was kind of like the response I probably would have hoped for. He didn't care about what color anybody's skin was. He diffused that a little bit, and
Right.
I don't know. It's just kind of the beauty of him. Like he was, irreverent. He was
With like all that Muscle Shoals stuff he did. That was really what Dan was in. Like when we were at the lunch table, that was what Dan Bower was focused on. That's all he wanted to really learn about was his Alabama Muscle Shoals era,
Right.
which I don't know much about, but
Yeah.
that was what he was interested in.
Well, Jay, it's probably you could drive from where you're located now to see Muscle Shoals, right? You're not.
We actually have, yeah, we did. It's cool.
But was there anything about Jimmy that surprised you guys?
Just dude had energy, man. He had like
that's
energy.
exactly
He'd just come into the studio, he'd be chewing on this little root, this little like ginseng root. He'd just chew on it, man. He had energy. There was how sharp he was, but how hard he was too. He was very you could tell. Don't like the character. Nikki, my wife, says it. She's like, we just watched Hard They Come as a family, and she was like, man, Jimmy's very much kind of like that character. Like he's cool. He kind of, but you could tell. Don't cross him, man. He'll cut you.
I toured with him, and he blew my mind. He would be very subdued and rest, and then you'd see him on stage, and he was a completely different person. And then it's like he was just saving all that energy on a daily basis. And then after the show, he was back subdued, and it's like he was saving himself every day because he was in his 60s and just to put on that show every night. And it was just, it was really on a daily basis, blew my mind. And it much respect.
Where were some of the places you guys toured?
Europe, the US,
Mexico, Canada.
I've
never been to Japan. Did you go to Japan?
I went to Japan with the Bastards. We played in Africa. We played in Rabat. We played in Morocco.
Wow. Okay.
And that was a trip. That's online, by the way.
Okay,
and
I'll check
we
that.
We played in front of 40,000 people with these crane. I played in a castle at a drum set, and they didn't have any sticks, and I used knives.
What?
Dan was there. Dan was
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was.
I'm thankful to have seen you guys at Coachella, and there's some great.
Oh, that that was a whole different. That was so cool, man. You know, the funny. I got to say something about the Coachella show because I had all these notes and I had these extensive, like, we didn't have a lot of rehearsal. And then I remember because we played Coachella. It was the first year they did 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I remember we were about to play and this gust of wind. It was really windy, and this gust of wind took my set list and my notes out. Like, and normally I would be like, you know, I was like, hey Scott, you gotta
power through it.
Use your brain. Time to use your brain. So, you know.
So did you guys play Ghana with Africa, Ghana specifically with Jimmy? Or was before you guys work with him?
I think that was.
I didn't tour.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, you didn't.
Jay did the 2 Coachella shows. That was it, right? And then
and the LA show and
the
like a
warm up.
Like 4.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's like a industry show where it was
right.
Yeah.
That was the SIR show, right?
So
I saw that one.
So this is totally unrelated. So he played Ghana, and the show was scheduled for 4 o'clock in the evening. And by 10 o'clock in the morning, the stadium was packed to capacity.
People waiting.
How much he was loved and respected.
Right.
10 o'clock in the morning, AM now.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. But we didn't talk about the name of the album. Eric, you want to bring that in? The album that won the Grammy?
Rebirth. Yeah.
Huh? Rebirth.
Yeah.
2012. And the thing he got the Grammy 2013?
12.
2012.
Yeah.
So what was your response? Once the album came out, and then what was also about winning the Grammy?
I was at dinner when I was at Tepon Grill when I got the email from Grover saying, "Hey, we won!" I'm like, "Whoa, really cool!" It was great. And then, a little trophy showed up in the mail like a little bit after that. We didn't get invited. I don't even think Jimmy got invited to the show. It was because they didn't air the reggae category. They just kind of sent you the trophy and said, congrats. But it was, to have a project you worked on win a Grammy and a reggae Grammy. You're like,
yes,
it's a lot of mixed feelings because you're like, this isn't like my music, but it's very much part of me. So to participate.
So my question is why Jimmy didn't work on another project that would get him a Grammy, or that's not necessarily something he
like to follow that up.
Care about.
Follow up one, right?
Like a follow up? I don't know. I think we talked to him. I think he just kind of. I don't know. Scott might know better about that because Scott toured with him after this thing. I kind of ended my thing. And
I don't think he's really. He put out another. I looked it up a couple years ago, and he put out a record a few years ago. It was very poppy. I mean, I don't want to sound it a certain way, but I think that record that we made with Jimmy, with Jay and Tim and Dan and Kevin, was the last representative record that he made that was reggae. And
I fully agree because he had left reggae for many decades.
Yeah. And I mean, and you look at what he'd done before that, and you look, he was working with this thing that happened with Tim, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Right.
Was divine. It was it might not have ever happened. And, and he might, I don't know how to explain it, but it was, everybody was at the right time, and it was just the right time.
It was a point in time. You're right. Yeah.
And for people who haven't checked out the album, I think it's definitely worth checking out. It's Rebirth, and my favorite track is the opening track by Joe Higgs. The world is upside down. The world is turning around. And I think he added some words to it. So he took credit for being one of the co-writers.
Right.
If Joe was around, then it would have been good for, I guess, for the.
Yes. Yeah. My only criticism is you can't find the album very well now. It's not on streaming, and I don't. It's out of print. I mean, it's really hard. I have a CD copy.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
I've
sad.
looked for it. It's
I
really
have it on vinyl.
Wow. Yeah, I need to try to find it on vinyl.
I'm not bragging, but I do.
Yeah,
You should have
You
it.
have several.
Yeah.
No, I actually think I bought it on vinyl.
Wow.
I don't think I got some promos of the EP, but I think I went and actually I want on this.
That's always fun when you got to buy your own record.
It
I've had
is.
to
It
do
is
that.
amazing.
Well, that's okay. I'm just thankful it came out on vinyl.
But and
Yeah.
Junior and I've talked about this, and we talked about when AGGROLITES backed Prince Buster earlier as well, and Scott, I know that you through Angel City and the Hurricanes, you got to work with some legends like Roy Ellis. But if you think about the incredible talent, right, in California, Southern California here, and pairing with the legends, right? And Junior, you as a promoter through Sky Mania have brought so many legends to town. But I mean, it's so impressive, right? And the magic that these these homegrown, right, California musicians bring, right, to these Jamaican legends, ska, rocksteady, reggae legends, and it's.
And I'll tell you, Eric, like
yeah, please.
you definitely see it when you leave California. Like when you're in it, you don't quite see it because you're in the tornado of it. You're in it, but it took me couple years once I left to realize, like, dang, that's ground zero.
Yeah.
Southern California is definitely ground zero for you. People talk about when I was in HEPCAT, we had this interesting rivalry with the Slackers and the
East Coast.
Yeah, and then what was the song on the HEPCAT?
Oh yeah, right. Was it Open Season?
Open Season, yeah.
Yeah.
but the whole thing was very tongue in cheek. People started taking it seriously, but the East Coast does have its own take and version of this music and everything. But I mean, not to take anything away from that, but Southern California, man, I mean, LA and the bands that it's produced and the people, the people that come there, like I backed up Derek Harriott. I backed up, like I don't see Derek Harriott being backed up in Utah or there's a bunch of, well, I'm just saying it was like I came to LA and this band and we all rehearsed and it was always like Derek Morgan and all this stuff. And
but also, I want to add that the lot of musicians who had moved away from Skia, and I can mention three, Bonnie Whaler, Jimmy Cliff, and Toots, when they play Los Angeles, man, they really and truly incorporated ska into their repertoire.
There you go.
Because I've seen Jimmy Cliff at Madison Square Garden.
That's true. That's true.
And my only disappointment was there was no ska. I've seen Toots before, no ska. But when they realized that Los Angeles is the epicenter of ska in America, they really started incorporating it.
You can state that. I can't state that, but you can state that because I truly believe that. And it's interesting because when I toured with Jimmy, it was almost like HEPCAT, because HEPCAT would play everything from ska. We actually played Blue Beat. I can't remember what song, all the way to Rocksteady and Rockers. But playing with Jimmy, when I toured with him, it was the same thing. And we played King of Kings into, what was the other big ska song?
Miss Jamaica?
No, it was we did not a medley because that's 3, but we did King of Kings into something, and it was the time I got to play ska, and I didn't get to play ska that often. And the last time I really played ska was probably with HEPCAT or Western Standard Time, but I got to play ska. I got to play all these rocksteady, well, not really rocksteady with Jimmy, but reggae and everything.
Was it ska all over the world?
No, it was King of Kings and what was the other?
He did Hurricane Hattie as well.
Hurricane Hattie, maybe.
First set.
We didn't do that. No.
Trust No Man. Anyways, but yeah.
Anyway, my point was it was cool to actually play ska with Jimmy Cliff.
The traditional way,
that was
right?
my-
The traditional way, not the
Right.
reggae ska, but
And I
the
don't
traditional.
think he did that within. I don't know if it was.
No.
that
I've seen him. I saw his shows prior to you guys, and then after, and they were always amazing. He always gave it 110%. He was always so lively, but musically, he might have incorporated a couple ska songs, but very different, clearly.
But the drummers are usually, and I'm not taking anything away from it, but
Correct.
the
The
Jamaican.
reggae drum, the ska. Let's say.
There
as
you
it
go.
is.
The younger Jamaican drummers, I feel like they don't respect the older, from what I've like, especially like it's almost like I don't know. I don't want to be
No, I'm with you there. I'm with you
flippant
there.
about it.
And
It's just like
I've seen that. Yeah, I lived through it, and I'm living with
you know
it.
what you know what I'm talking about. Like
Of course.
Lloyd Knibb is God.
But I think a lot of times the singers are satisfied with them reggae the
Sure.
ska. They don't say,
yeah.
let's try to recreate
Right.
what
Right.
Scatolites did. Right. They're
Right.
just satisfied with whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how you do it, fine.
Right.
Whereas LA musicians, they try exceedingly hard, extremely hard
Yes.
to recreate
They take it serious.
band drum and
Yeah.
Very serious. Yeah.
Yes.
that
Right.
And you know what?
original, so.
And you know what? Part of that has to do with like all these musicians in LA are also competing. They want to play with HEPCAT or they want to be in that. Right? So
That's
there's
what it is. There's a lot of competition within LA.
That is, but
to
it's a
rise
nice,
to the top.
it's a
of course.
nice, beautiful, honest
Yeah.
competition.
Right.
If there's not this talking shit on people, there's just like, well, I want to get better. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
No,
I
no.
think it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's take us to modern day here. Jay, you and I exchanged messages about this. About a month ago, Junior and I are at Skymania sessions here in Fullerton, and Reigen Sound, who are your buddies, put on a tune, and Junior asked, I think Adrian, what is this tune? And
Of all the tunes I played that night,
fast forward,
Of all the
Junior, what was Adrian's answer?
It's Jay. And so then Jay produced it. And so then my next question is, how did he get that rhythm to sound like it was back in the day, where he couldn't explain?
And then unrelated, Jay, you and I exchanged messages, and you say, "Hey, I'm going to send you and Junior a copy." So Jay,
Yeah.
obviously that's one of the things that has been keeping you busy. So talk about this record.
So let me find a
Well,
record. 'Cause I'm going to plug it.
All right, yeah, you can play. Yeah, but
Did
go
you
ahead.
get it?
I did.
Junior,
I did.
you guys got
Thank
it?
you. Yes.
Okay. So me and Nikki, my wife, started a little record label called JANDISC, J and Nikki Disc,
Yes.
back right after I left the AGGROLITES, because I'd been producing a bunch of stuff. And we wanted a little outlet. So we put out some 45s.
So I miss, can you rewind?
Yeah. So me and my wife, Nikki, remember you were at our reception, Junior, at my dad's house.
Of course, I think I
Remember that?
did.
You were swinging on
I think I mixed. I played music. I did something. I participated. Yeah.
you got the food. You catered it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, from a friend of mine. Right.
Yeah. So me and Nikki started a little record label called JANDISC way back then. And we put out Ja Faith records, little 45s.
Killer.
101.
No, it's not a little 45.
You got those?
His biggest songs, because he has recorded some more. That's the biggest.
Hey, sure. And then Ross Congo, some Black Emeralds, a Scorcher. You know a Scorcher.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
And then so we kind of let it go. We had our kid, and we just kind of let it go, and it just kind of went. We didn't fold it. We went stagnant for a long time, and then we connected with Lone Ranger, and Lone Ranger heard the rhythms that you heard, Junior.
And what
he
time
was
period
like-
is this, sir? What time period?
6 months ago.
There we go.
Yeah. And so we're like, okay, Lone Ranger wants to jump on that rhythm. We're gonna dust the cobwebs off of JANDISC, and we gotta put a record out.
So this is
it moved really
bringing
fast.
it back. It's bringing it back now.
This is right months ago.
Yes.
Ah,
So we sent Ranger a couple rhythms. He liked that one. He cut the vocal to it, sent it back in Kingston, and then we got it pressed. That's where we're at now.
so the rhythm
And so
was
now-
laid.
So good. So
The
good.
rhythm was laid recently.
That rhythm was laid probably in 2014, 15.
Oh, I thought it was like 20 years ago.
No. No, it's current. It's Jason Castillo on drums, me on
Yeah.
everything else, Selena on percussion,
Wow.
and
Right.
then Ruben DeRozzo and Robbie Spangler on horns.
Wow.
That's
okay.
it.
Yes.
And so me and Jason are actually recording tomorrow some more of this.
So I kid you not. When I heard this, I said I'm going to get into producing because I'm losing too much money off bringing the legend to town.
Hey,
I kid you
man,
not.
so
I said I got to
I don't
link
know.
up with Jay.
We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk after, man. 'cause,
There we go.
Oh, man.
we're gonna this
Said,
next
I'm
year coming
getting
up.
into production.
Everyone needs to check that out for sure. What's the name of the tune, Jay?
It's Spanish Town Special, Lone
Hey.
Ranger
All
on
right.
JANDISC Records. You could get it on the website, jandiscrecords.com.
Yes.
And who's
I mean,
handling the
it's-
distribution? You're doing it yourself?
Yeah, over in England is gonna be No Earthly Food, but here kind of just off the website.
Nice.
Off the website. How is the sale going?
It's going good, man. That initial wave was pretty good because they went
All
and
right.
picked up that tune, and while they were there, they picked up all the old tunes. So it's gonna fund, hopefully we got a
Yes.
bunch of stuff. It's backed up, and we're gonna try and get 2026 to just be a steady release of singles, possibly an LP.
Nice.
And stay tuned. We're gonna try and keep this thing.
Yeah, man.
ripping.
They did several rewind at Scamania sessions.
Yes.
Oh yeah, those are my brethren
We will-
right there.
we
That's
will-
Paul Morton and
Yeah.
Adrian.
Oh,
Well,
Paul,
definitely.
We will keep spreading the word.
And the sound system they got, the Ragan sound,
It's yours.
that was the
Right.
JANDISCO sound. That,
Right.
Adrian took it over, and
they're
now
they're
it's
keeping
Ragan.
good. They're keeping good care of it.
I know.
And then Jay, I saw you and Nikki are spinning at a big ska festival in Europe next year.
Yes.
So talk about.
I'm glad you brought that up. London International Ska Fest
Yes.
coming
Big.
up next year. Yeah, it's gonna be
Nice.
cool in London. So we're heading over there, I think in March, April, end of March.
Very
Into
nice.
April. I think it's April. And we're going to be on a boat, like a little river boat going
Right.
with the Selector playing. Dave Barker's going to be there. We're going to be going down the Thames underneath the London Bridge, DJing
cool.
and just dancing around.
Yeah.
So we make a trip out of it.
Anything else on the horizon that you want to share?
Mostly just 2026 is JANDISC. We're getting more singles ripping out and LP, and keep your eyes on JANDISC this coming up year into hopefully we get it really going again.
Yeah.
So not to belabor the point. So is that a Studio One record? Is that a Studio One rhythm you hit over with the Ranger?
No, it's brand new.
Completely original.
Original.
100%. This is the same thing Ranger said to me. He was
Yeah, you see what I
Kind of.
mean?
when he hit me up. He was saying him and his manager were kind of confused at why I had that music.
Right.
I'm like, I have it because it's my music. And he's like, he figured it out that it really was our tune.
Right.
And so he was excited about it.
Yeah, I thought it was since you're working with Studio One, you got one of the
They keep
remix. I
I'm
just
sure they
seems
do.
magical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
they keep their rhythms tight. They don't let anyone have it.
To be proud. Scott,
Congratulations, sir.
Scott,
Thank you.
what about you? What's keeping you busy these days?
Just trying to stay afloat, man.
Yeah.
No, I work. I write a lot of stuff. I do. I have a studio behind me, and I write a lot of music. I work with Tim also. We have a recording project. We had a track that we worked on called Calimatics.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah.
So
I dig them.
Did you see the song Root Style? I think it's called?
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that whole beginning, that's
Right.
me playing all the instruments.
Okay.
That's the yeah. So
You're getting some traction.
Yes.
Is it?
We've interviewed a few of them.
Yeah, they're getting
on
some
our-
traction.
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. Yeah, and so
Mhm.
yeah, so Tim and I are and then hopefully Jay with his resurgence in his record label.
We're gonna be doing some more stuff. Me and Scott.
Yeah,
through
for
that.
sure, for
And
sure.
we'll definitely keep you posted on all
Yeah.
that.
Jay, I play a mean cowbell.
Hey, I've heard.
So does Will
heard.
Ferrell. Will's kind of our cowbell guy, man, but
Yeah, he got busy though.
he's pretty busy.
No, I mean, listen, you guys,
Yes, sir.
the joy and the music and the talent that you guys have contributed and continue to contribute. I mean, if you think
Yeah.
about, I know we talked a lot about the AGGROLITES and HEPCAT, but I mean, when you think about two bands from the scene, right, who really made a mark and continue to make a mark, right? Those two bands, and I do want to touch on before we end this here. The scene has lost a number of close friends and and bandmates. The musicians that you both have played with Dan Bower. We talked about Greg
Lee.
Lee.
Dave
Fuentes.
Dave Fuentes, Owen's brother.
Jason Lawless.
Jason Lawless. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lawless.
Yes. So just
quite a few.
Benny from Western Standard Time.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And so Scott, I don't want to definitely want to pay respect to Eitan. So you have recorded and performed live with Western Standard Time over the years, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Scott, you're staying quite busy.
No, not really. That was years ago. But no, it was. But I just want to state, like, that second record with Western Standard Time was the last time I saw my homie Aaron Owens, one of my most favorite guitar players I've ever played with. I played with him with HEPCAT.
Yeah.
And he passed short time after that recording session, and I'm just really thankful that I was involved in that recording session, and I got to play with Aaron because he was a very special person to me, as was Dan. I wanted to just give some shout outs to just people I've worked with, if you don't mind.
No, please.
Like obviously Dan Bower. I mean, anybody that knows him and he played with, I don't even know what to say. I might get a little teary eyed, but I want to bring up like Zach Pike, guitar, and Cheekies, and Brian Dixon, and Brian Wallace, and Jesse Wagner, and Corey Horn, and Roger Rivas, and
Ray Gisildo.
Ray Gisildo. And all the guys on HEPCAT, Lino,
Jason Castillo.
Jason.
Yes.
I'm thinking about all the people that I played with. I'm probably Jubal.
You're doing an amazing job so far.
Well, yeah, I mean,
this is extensive.
And like, I really want to put stress on people like Dave Fuentes. Like, my God, like Jay knows a bass.
Bad.
I'm
Talented.
Thankful that I played with him. Aaron, it's amazing that I got to play with these people, and it's also sad at the same time that they're not with us. But
that's the road we all have to traverse.
Of course, and the cool thing about, especially like Dan played on so much stuff. Dan Bower. There's a Vernon Maytone record that never came out.
No, it came out in Brazil.
Did it really?
What? Are you serious?
You're gonna have to buy your own record again, Scott.
That's okay. I'll buy it.
Hey, duties on it, dude.
That's an amazing record, and everybody on that, it was just on point. But Dan, like the mixes I have with Brian Dixon, where he put the organ really forward, like some late 60. It just propels the whole record. It's amazing. It's one of the most amazing records I've ever played on.
Oh no!
Hey, can I give Dan a quick shout? I want to.
And by the way, this is one of his shirts too. That's why.
There we go. Me too.
That's
But let me
Chicky
give Dan a
Jack-
quick shout.
Yes, please, Jay.
On the Dirty Reggae record, like Dan was the main organ player on that record. I don't know if people know this. Dan was the first string organ player on that entire record. It wasn't until Dan kind of stopped coming down to LA in like halfway, 3/4 of the way out through that session, is when Roger, because Roger was the piano player for the AGGROLITES,
Right.
and Dan was the organ player. And so Dan dipped out. He couldn't make the drive anymore for these sessions. And that's when Raj kind of slipped in and finished the record as an organ player. But I think it might not be fully understood how much of a part of the organ sound he had on that record was Dan.
Wow. Okay.
You know, like Dirty Reggae, the song itself, that's Dan on organ.
Can I speak to Dan also?
Yes.
Please.
Anything that Dan played on, whether it be the AGGROLITES, the Jimmy Cliff, all the stuff that I did with Dan was on everything to do with Angel City, everything.
Right.
And that guy was reggae, man. I mean, I loved Roger's playing, and I love Destin's playing, and they all play so differently,
right?
You know, but Dan, Dan was just he was epic.
Yeah. Now I have to go listen to his stuff.
Yes.
I mean, anything that he played on,
he didn't
for my own edification.
Yeah.
The whole record,
listen to the Dirty Reggae
record is Dan. Like, except for the piano, the clavinet, any synth, he did synth stuff that didn't make it on the record, and the organ, and like I said, that Vernon Mayton record, all the Junior Thomas stuff. He just he epitomized this music. Like, I mean, I can't say enough about him.
Well, dude, there's a lot of people in this group of people we're talking about that don't toot their own horn, and it's a lot of it. If you're not screaming at the top of your lungs like "Look at me," you'll get buried. And a lot of the ones that are really the cream of the crop, in my eyes, aren't trying to get the limelight. And there's a couple people I'd love to shout out.
Sure,
Tall Paul Morton. I mean, that guy is a huge proponent of what the AGGROLITES even were, or the Rhythm Doctors were. He's like, he was the vision of the Rhythm Doctors, the vision of the AGGROLITES. He was the one telling everybody what to play and what to. That guy needs and he's Reigen,
Yes.
So Paul's a huge part. He just doesn't really chase down the
spotlight. Yeah,
the pats on the back. He don't care. Dan Bower's another one of those. That guy should be at the Mount Rushmore of reggae organ in America. Man, he didn't chase down the accolade or the praise.
Right.
Man, fill in some gaps for me. But those are a couple there.
What about Dion?
Dion
Watts.
You're talking about Watts?
Yeah.
Dion Watts is huge.
Axe Records, and
yes.
I knew my first tour of ever was Let's Go Bowling 1992, and we opened up for the Selector, and Dion was our tour manager.
Mm-hmm.
And Dion is she's a progenitor of this. I mean, he's like Tall Paul, and he just keeps it going, and it's a passion. And
we touched on it earlier, but Rich Carlstead definitely needs to a lot more credit for what happened in the reggae, the change from ska to reggae in LA. I mean, Rich was key in that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, Jay. Mm-hmm. Yes, and before I forget, Scott, I do want to thank you and Jesse Wagner for coming up with our theme, our jingle here for the History of LA Ska one-on-one session. So,
you're welcome.
Appreciate
that. Was a couple years ago, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Hey, let's throw Brian Dixon in there too, dude. Brian Dixon was huge for everything.
Yes.
Yeah, you did, but I just want to put him in the
Rushmore, for sure.
Brian Dixon was a major force in the whole Angel City Records and all the stuff that was recorded there. Beyond being an amazing engineer, but I learned a ton from him in the studio.
I absorbed so much off of just watching Brian work.
And
Whether
he
I
was
did
really
a
cool.
lot,
Yeah, he was
he's
really
always
cool.
cool with just teaching.
when you
and letting
when you
know.
start naming people and you leave some out, you run the
yeah.
risk of getting stoned.
But I will say
Hey,
this,
stone me. Stone
Junior,
me.
I will say this, and I learned this from Junior. Junior, as always said, it's important to give thanks and praise while
Yes.
while the
Especially
people
when
are
they're in the
still
flesh.
with us. So I do
Yeah.
appreciate and
I left out Matt
And respect.
Parker. Matt Parker.
Oh,
yes,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good old Matt.
Matt Parker
Yes,
was
sir.
a big part of.
yeah.
One of the pictures I sent you
yes,
was we played 3 shows. I can't remember what we were called, but it was Lino from HEPCAT, and Aaron and Dave Fuentes,
wow,
and Matt Parker and I.
yeah,
And there's a picture in there, and
Okay.
I think that's one of the pictures I sent you, and
yeah, yes.
that is some heavy hitters right there. I mean,
Hey,
So
Scott.
much history.
Indeed.
Yeah,
So
Scott,
much.
Yes. So
Hey, Scott,
any
another-
closing words before we wrap it up? Look at the clock.
Yeah,
It's
another cat we don't want to
18:04.
sleep
Yes.
on. Another one we don't want to sleep on, and Scott knows this, is Ray Gisildo, organ
Oh,
player.
Okay,
yes.
I mean, beyond
Yeah.
insane talent. There.
Ray was this kid, and Roger had a hiatus from the Agrolites, and he came on tour with us, and then we did one tour where it was Roger and Ray.
wow,
Ray's gone on to play with the Black Keys, and he's just he's on another level as far as like just playing, but he's like the coolest guy, and he's a big part of this music. Like, and Dan and Ray there was a chance that instead of a second guitar player, that Ray was going to be the second keyboard player with Jimmy Cliff on tour.
wow.
And there was
and Dan was trying to get him on the road.
yeah, and there
Didn't really work out.
so there was Ray's the shit, man.
Yeah.
Ray is bad. Don't sleep on Ray.
Well, thank
Wow,
you
so many
guys.
questions, so many
No,
amazing stories.
thank you
huh?
for sharing the wonderful stories. We
Yes,
greatly appreciate this.
So, any closing
time.
thoughts from you guys?
I'd
Scott?
like to just say that I'm really appreciative and happy that I was part of everything that I ever did with this music and the people and a lot of the people that I've mentioned. There's people I obviously have left out, but I'm really thankful of being a part of this. And Ernest Ranglin, the states they're trying to push this box set with his stuff, and I was reading up about Ernest, and he said, man, I just want to see reggae music. I want to see people push the music forward, and that's what I've always thought is, like, I personally try and push the music forward in everything that I write,
Yeah.
And I think that's important because this music obviously means so much to us, and we're very passionate about it, and it's a lifelong passion and pursuit. I mean,
Yeah.
Jay knows that.
Yeah.
And ironically, Jay and I both kind of pushed music aside for a minute, and we both came back to music, ironically, I think within weeks, when we talked. So we're back into like,
Up in the air.
Amazing.
yeah.
Hey, if you want a little side treat, me and Scott did this cool little side project. It's not even reggae at all. It's like a rock record with Luke Yoward from
Oh, that's
Australia.
such a good.
Okay.
that's so
Check
good.
that out. That's in
It's
our
called Ghost.
It's a Luke
What's it called?
Yeah.
Ghost.
Luke Yoward Ghosts,
Yeah.
and it's a
Okay.
rock record from. There's a little bit of reggae in there, but me and Scott recorded it in my garage with this dude from Australia, and it's like Tom Petty meets Joe Strummer meets some reggae.
All right.
And it's
It's
really, and Jay did an amazing job recording it, by the way. To say amazing job.
nice.
Yeah, this is years ago before we left.
We will check that out. Jay, final thoughts.
Yeah, that's pretty. Scott wrapped it up nicely, where it's like, we've been through the tornado of it all, and we were in that pocket of when lightning was striking in a bottle there in LA, and we've came out of it. Me and Scott have both stepped away from music for a little while and come back, and stepped out and come back. But I think ultimately, man, I'm just super duper thankful and proud to be on the train at the same time as a lot of these cats. Some of them have jumped off the train early, but we're still on it, and I'm just going to keep celebrating Jamaican music the way I like to, and with my buddies. And ultimately, I feel like making music with our buddies like this and really getting in the studio and grinding it out, or on tour or whatever, just really bonds you together in a way that nothing else really can, And yeah, just super thankful to be, share some of the path with you, Eric, and you, Junior, all you guys, man.
Yeah, but Jay, you're still on the periphery because you're working with Studio One. Over the years, you haven't stopped, right?
No, I do Studio One, their album covers.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're still on. That's what
Still
I'm saying.
there.
On the periphery.
Yeah, and then I'm back in with JANDISC right now, getting releasing records.
Right.
Well, we look forward to a lot more in 2026. So thank you guys for taking the time and telling us some wonderful
Thank
stories.
you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect to both of you. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Hope to see you both soon. Junior, thank you as always.
Yes, and thanks to everyone for the ongoing support. Please subscribe to this podcast series and our YouTube channel. Follow us at History of Aleskia on Instagram and join our Facebook group. And that's really and truly growing, really growing. This series is produced by Rockery Radio, my good friend here, Eric Kohler. And please do your part to celebrate and preserve the scene. Eric?
Yes. And I'll leave you with this. Please come on out, put on your dancing shoes, and enjoy yourself. So be love, show love, and be well, everyone.